morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to take a look at Zashian Amazing Rare and how this can be a genuinely good, viable, winning card that kind of makes its own deck, but also kind of just bullies its way into an existing deck. Let's have a gander, shall we? Now, Zashian Amazing Rare's got 2 attacks. The first attack for 1 colourless energy does 30 damage and attaches a basic energy from your discard pile to this Pokemon. There are some 60 HP Pokemon that see play that are weak to Psychic, but most of the time this is just accelerating energy. And then for the super awkward cost of 1 Grass, 1 Psychic, 1 Metal, you do 300 damage. That ain't bad. That ain't bad at all. Now, there is a caveat here. The caveat is your opponent must have a Pokemon V Max in play. Otherwise, you only do 150. Now, to be fair, 150 will still take out a whole bunch of single prize Pokemon. And it will take out literally anything you're hitting for weakness, including Mewtwo and Mew, which is still an amazing deck. But most of the time here, you're hoping to come up against V-Maxes. Now, the irony here, of course, is that 300 is generally not enough to get a KO on a V-Max. So, yeah. It's a bit of a weird one, unfortunately. But if your opponent's got a V-Max on the field, you can KO anything but it using this. Very powerful attack. Awkward attack cost, but very powerful attack. Outside of that, it's Zashian ADP. It's the same kind of deck we've been playing for a while. Zashian's got that amazing ability to let you draw 3 cards, and if any of them are metal energy, you can attach them to this. And then it's got an attack for 3 energy, which does 230 damage, but it can't attack next turn. It is one of the very, very, very best Pokemon in the game. Has been for a while. No reason to think it would change anytime soon. Now, as for ADP, I've made my case before that I don't like this card and I think it should be taken away, but it's not, so that's irrelevant. It's got the attack Ultimate Ray. 3 energy, 150, and you attach 3 energy from your deck to your Pokemon in any way that you like. Now, this can actually be extremely useful for getting the requisite energy onto Zashian Amazing Rare, so you can use that attack. But most of the time, this is used for the GX attack, 1 metal, 1 water energy, and for the rest of the game, all of your Pokemon do an extra 30 damage, and you take an extra prize every time you take a KO. So you can afford to give up your ADP, because then for the rest of the game, you're taking an extra prize every time you take a KO, which is kind of silly. But I do love the option here of being able to accelerate energy using this, because you want to be attacking with Zashian Amazing Rare here. It is a single prize Pokemon as opposed to 2 or 3 prize Pokemon, and it can do enough damage to KO the vast majority of good cards, depending on what deck your opponent is playing. But it's got a super awkward attack cost, and this really does both things. If you have a faster start than your opponent, you can be doubling up prizes and accelerating energy to Zacian, and that can essentially be game at that stage. Now, outside of that, we've got the usual consistency Pokemon, except this deck plays all of them. Dedenne, discard your hand, draw 6 cards. Crobat, when you play it from your hand to your bench, you draw until you've got 6 cards in your hand. And Eldegoss puts a supporter card from your discard pile into your hand. They are very, very nice cards that help you get rolling. Now, there is a copy of Rayquaza GX here. Annoyingly, it's the kind of thing, it is rotating. You're not going to have this post-rotation. But it's a one-off, and honestly, I don't think you need it in this deck. It's nice, but I don't think you need it. You can discard your hand and draw 10 cards if you're desperate for stuff in the early game. Though do remember that if you do this, that means you can't use ADP's GX attack. It's 1 per game. And then for free energy, you do 30 damage for each basic grass and lightning energy attached to your Pokemon. Problem is here, you're not playing any basic lightning and you're only playing 2 basic grass, so probably not using this. But when you play it from your hand to your bench, you may discard the top 3 cards of your deck and then attach a basic energy from your discard pile to this Pokemon. And then, of course, we're playing a bunch of Energy Switch in this deck, so you will then be able to Energy Switch the energy from Rayquaza to one of your Pokemon. You're not ever using the first attack, the main attack, and if you end up using the GX attack, it means the game is going terribly wrong. What this is really here for is to get an energy on it, so you can then Energy Switch off of this, and then pay the awkward attack cost of that Zashian Amazing Rare. Is it a perfect way to play? No, of course it's not. But sometimes you just need to get the energy on there, and you don't really care how. Plus, of course, this increases the chances of hitting a turn 1 GX attack. If you go second, you want the turn 1 GX attack with ADP. And sure, you can Metal Saucer onto a Zacian and then Energy Switch, but now you can do that, or you can use Rayquaza's ability and then Energy Switch from it. Either way, it increases your chances of hitting the turn 1 GX attack. You don't need it, but it is a nice little pre-rotation bonus. Now, in terms of energy here, it gets kind of awkward. Mainly, you're playing Metal Energy because of the whole Zacian thing and Metal Saucer and all of that. But we're also playing Water Energy for ADP. And we're also playing Grass Energy for Zashian Amazing Rare. And we're also playing Psychic Energy for Zashian Amazing Rare. It is an awkward energy line, but the fact of the matter is, if you want to play this deck, you've got to have those 4 different kinds of basic energy. You have no choice. And I should mention, as we finish looking at energy, there are a couple copies of Aurora Energy here. You don't want to play Aurora Energy. There are too many things you can do with basic energy, like ADP, like Turbo Patch. But the fact of the matter is, you're playing a super awkward energy line, so having 2 that can count as anything really can be an advantage. Now, moving over into the trainers, one of the things we see in this deck, which is honestly popping up in a lot of decks over in Japan at the moment, is Turbo Patch. Flip a coin. If heads, you attach a basic energy from your discard to one of your basic non-GX Pokemon. So this will not work to get you the earlier GX attack with ADP, but it will work for Zacian, and it will work for Zacian. So you know what? This is kind of okay by me. Metal Saucer is a very, very important card here, as is Energy Switch, because they get you rolling. They really are extremely important. And in terms of Energy Search, we see a line we don't often see. We've got 4 copies of Quick Ball, gets all your basics out. You are playing an entirely basic deck, so it will search anything. And then 3 copies of Cherish Ball. Cherish Ball searches for any GX and puts it into your hand. So it won't get all your Pokemon, but it will get your ADP, it will get your Dedenne, and it will get your Rayquaza. So it really is worth having a bit of a play with here. Now, we've also got 3 copies of Switch to make sure you've got the right Pokemon in the active at all times. And your stadium of choice here is Chaotic Swell. This is fairly standard if you don't know what stadium to play. 1 copy of Chaotic Swell so that it can be a counter against your opponent's stadiums. But also, you play it to replace 1 stadium, and then the next stadium your opponent plays will be discarded without anything happening. So, if you're looking for a counter stadium, you literally can't do better. Now, we do also see some weird one-off tools. 1 copy of Vitality Band to do an extra 10 damage. 1 copy of Big Charm to get an extra 30 HP. 1 copy of Air Balloon to reduce your retreat cost by 2. And these are very much match-up things. Getting a KO, avoiding a KO. They're going to come in handy in individual matchups, so they are worth having as one-offs just in case. And then the supporter line really is extremely standard. We play Professor's Research, discard your hand, draw 7 cards. Best supporter in the game. We play Marnie, gives both players a new hand. You have 5, your opponent have 4. Nice draw plus disruption. And we play Boss's Orders to grab our opponent's Pokemon off the bench and whack them in the active, so we can KO whoever we gosh darned well want to. Yep, that sounds about right, ladies and gentlemen. That sounds about right. I like this deck. It's Zashian ADP, right? And to be fair, I don't like Zashian ADP. I don't mean I'm ever going to play this deck. I mean it looks like a good deck. It's not a personal like. It is a looking objectively, I believe this will be very good. What we're basically doing here is just adding in the option of a single prize Pokemon that does 300 damage. I cannot be the only one that thinks this is a pretty gosh darn good option. But I want to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.